Okay, so thank you guys so much for being with us this evening. I am Dr. Tabitha Thompson. I am the Early Head Start and Head Start Director for our district. And I'm joined tonight by Sandra, who is one of our enrollment clerks who specializes in our state preschool programs that are also supported through our district. So between the both of us, we are going to talk to you about the requirements for enrollment, documents that will need to be gathered for enrollment, and then answer any questions that you may have about enrollment. I will say to you that we are in the school year that ends in June. And so if you are interested in joining us for this particular year, then we are also able to do the same process for your child to start sooner than August. So with that, what you see on your screen is the document that tells you exactly what is needed for enrollment. The first piece of information is the birth certificate verification. And so for this piece of information, you can show us a birth certificate, a hospital record, or your medical insurance card. The second document, if you are applying to our state programs, and again, we're going to give you a list of which sites have state preschools and which sites have early Head Start and Head Start preschool right after this document. But if you are indeed going to a state preschool program, then we also need birth certificates for all of the siblings that are under the age of 18 that are still living in the home. So again, a birth certificate for the child enrolling. And then if you're in a state preschool program, then documents for the siblings as well. And then part of our way that we verify that kids are eligible for our program is by the income. And so for income, you can submit your pay stubs, which is the most common way to verify income. And if you have any other income from Social Security or TANF or any other welfare assistance, retirement, things like that, you can also submit that as proof of income. We also need proof of address. So something within the last 30 days that shows your address on it. So that can be a telephone bill, utilities, PG&E, any of those kind of documents. And then we also need immunization records. And we know and totally understand that due to COVID, there has been some difficulties with obtaining immunization records because doctors' offices not being open and readily available. So we have been working with families that enrolled this year. And because we are doing distance learning right now, you are able to participate. But if and when we do return to campus, a child's immunizations will need to be current. Again, if you are in need of any help with getting immunizations, we do have a health team and community liaisons that can help with trying to navigate the doctor's office to get that information. We'll also do a TB risk assessment. Again, this is a form for, of you signing off to determine whether or not you actually need a TB test. If you answer yes to some of those questions and you're deemed at a higher risk for TB, then we will ask you to return to your doctor for a TB test. Students also need a physical exam dated within the last year. Again, we do understand that some doctors' offices are not readily available. And so if you have a physical that's within the last year, we will take that information from their last physical. We will also take on the Head Start side a appointment card. So if you have an upcoming appointment from a doctor and you can show us verification that you are indeed scheduled to go to the doctor, that works as well. The next document, again, if you have any court papers that are needed, restraining orders, things like that, we always want to make sure that we have a copy. And then if your child happens to be connected to our special ed department and has an IEP or an IFSP, individualized family service plan. If it's somewhere within Twin Rivers, we can obviously attain a copy of that. If it is somewhere outside of Twin Rivers, we do ask that you bring us a copy so that we make sure your child is in the right setting. For full day, those are programs. Again, we'll show you a list of which sites have full day programs. And these are for our working parents that will also have to verify that they are employed or attending school. For Head Start, again, there's 4 sites. We'll show you the 4 sites in just a second. We also need a dental exam, same as the physical exam within the last year, or an appointment card that shows that you are scheduled to go to the dentist in the future. We also will ask you to give us a copy of your medical insurance card, and then also your WIC card if you are receiving WIC services. So again, enrollment is based on the child's age. It's based on income, and you will get placed in the program that's most appropriate for you. There is some priority given for kiddos that have IEPs or IFSPs, as well as students that have a status of homelessness or foster care use. So those are some of the priority categories that will have you get higher on the list for enrollment if you have one of those statuses.
Yes, Dr. Thompson?
Yes.
I have a question. So as far as families who are enduring homelessness, how would they be able to qualify for that service or that status, I guess, or priority?
You cut out a little bit, but I think you asked how families get qualified for services.
In case if they were in a state of homelessness.
So we do obviously still serve. I'm not sure that I'm getting your question, but let me give some more information. So if you are considered homeless, and that is, again, doesn't necessarily have to be in a particular shelter. It could be that you are living with friends or in between stable residents. We do consider that under the definition of homeless. And so that those kiddos and those families are considered priority enrollment if that's the status that your family is in right now. Right now, we are not fully enrolled for any of our programs, and so there's not any wait list that we're doing right now. And so that necessarily won't be an issue for you. But if, and when we begin to think about enrollment for next year, which will start in April, you'll definitely want to make sure that whichever enrollment clerk that you're working with knows that you are considered a homeless status, so that we make sure that we have you and your family as a priority.
Hello,
Did I answer?
Yes. Can you hear me? And then one of the other questions was as far as whether medical exemptions are allowed.
What medical exceptions?
Mm-hmm.
So we try and support all students. Obviously, if there's some medical concerns, we ask that those are documented by licensed physicians. And so we need to have all that information when you enroll, so we make sure we get you into the right settings. Just because your student or your child has a medical condition does not mean that we will not enroll them. We just want to make sure that we have all the information so that they get to the right setting. So again, if your child has asthma or allergies or any of those medical concerns, please make sure you bring documentation when you go to enroll, and make sure that we know about that so we can keep your child safe.
And my other question was whether there's any permanent medical exemptions, and so whether there families that say have a personal medical belief as far as not immunizing themselves, their children. What is the I guess for preschool? The current.
So preschool.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, your question is. I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question before. So we are governed by licensing, and licensing says that all students have to be immunized. So a couple years ago, that was a law that became official. So we no longer accept personal beliefs or medical doctor's notes for immunizations. All kids do have to be immunized.
They're asking as far as when it comes to for enrollment for preschool and enrollment for Head Start, what are the differences between both programs?
Not a difference in terms of the services that are provided for students. The major difference is a couple of requirements at the end, that there's the dental exam, the medical insurance card, and then also the WIC card if you are receiving WIC. So the process will be the same for sites. You'll want to think about where you live and which school is closest to you. Sandra, if you have that list, do you mind putting it up? we'll show you where our schools are located and which programs are on which sites. So that may help you decide which program you are aiming to enroll in. Our Head Start sites are located at Village, Rio Linda, Oakdale, and Maury Avenue. And the other sites are state programs that are located at our other sites. So if you are interested in applying for full day, which means that you're working or going to school, then those sites are Babcock, Kohler, Madison, Noralto, Northwood, Pacific, which serves infant and toddlers, Smythe Elementary, Stroud, and Violin and Woodridge. And then if you're interested in a part day program, so you do not need to be working for the part day program, then you would be going to Castory, Del Paso, Fairbanks, Garden Valley, Hagenwood, Joyce, Kohler, Noralto, and Northwood, Orchard, Sierra View, Smythe Elementary, Stroud, Woodlake, and Woodridge. And then our Head Start programs are located at Maury, Rio Linda, Oakdale, and a Village. So again, you'll want a school that is closest to you in terms of being convenient, and then you can decide which school you'll actually apply for. So once you see which school is closest to you, then we will accept that paperwork and start the process of getting you enrolled. Were there other questions, Alberto?
Most of the other questions are just mostly asking about age requirements. Or how are able to know whether their child qualifies for, let's say, early Head Start or for preschool for Head Start programs.
Gotcha. So our Pacific location serves infant and toddlers, and that's the 0 to 3. And then we also have early Head Start at Maury, Village, and Oakdale that serves 18 months to 3 years old. So if you have a younger kiddo, those are the 4 locations that we support toddlers. And then if your child is 3, then they are eligible for any of the other preschool locations.
Questions that I see right now are asking about whether there's current availability for this year.
Absolutely. We would love to have you guys join this year. We are still doing distance learning because of COVID. And so we are online every single day with our kiddos, engaging them in all sorts of academic and social skills building. And so, yes, all of our programs have room for you to join now instead of waiting until August. But if you are choosing to wait until August, that enrollment will start in April. So I highly suggest starting to get those documents gathered so that when enrollment starts, you are ready to enroll. But absolutely, you can start. You can enroll now for this school year.
There were other questions too, as far as I've seen one of the documents. There's also the dual immersion program for preschool. What is the process to participate in that program, and what program sites is that offered at?
Noralto is our site that has dual immersion, and Sandra, will you confirm if Madison still has it? Does Madison?
Madison does not have it for preschool. It's only for K and above.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so the only one that we have as of right now for dual immersion would be Noralto Las Palmas. That's where we have one class available for that specific program.
And I know that there's going to be questions about the income limits. And so let me just talk about income. Everyone is eligible to participate. Depending on your income will depend on whether or not there's a small fee associated with enrollment. And so we ask that you guys give us a call so that we can talk you through, because there's a very lengthy chart that we look at to determine if indeed there is a fee. Most of our parents have no fees, and many of them have very, very small fees monthly. So if you have that information, give us a call and we can talk you through what the income chart looks like, and it's all based on how many people live in your household and then what your gross monthly income is. So if we haven't already shared, we will share with you the 2 phone numbers. If you want to write them down, it's 916-566-3485 for our early Head Start and Head Start sites. And then it's 916-566-1616 for our state preschool enrollment. So again, if you call us, we can give you more specifics on what it would look like for your family if there is a fee.
And then for our preschool staff, can you help me in typing those phone numbers out? Either Ms. Smith or Ms. Oria or Ms. Mejia for our families.
Someone asked to repeat the second number was 916-566-1616, and that's our ECE department.
And for the Head Start?
916-566-3485.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Thompson, there's questions regarding just with the permanent medical exemptions, as far as with the new immunization law that was passed. If families have an exemption, how would they go about as far as if with enrollment? Is one of the questions, or a couple questions that were posed.
Exemptions for immunizations.
Yes.
My understanding is that there's not any, and so if you want to leave your phone number, I can follow up with you about the medical exemptions. Remembering that we are governed by licensing, and so again, a couple of years ago, licensing said that all kids had to be immunized, but I can go back and double check if there's been a recent change to that.
There's questions about how can families access the health evaluation and the physical forms.
So if you are interested in going ahead with the enrollment, all of the documents are online. If you go to the Twin Rivers webpage, it will lead you to our online enrollment application where you can find all of these documents. You can fill those documents out online, and at the bottom, it'll ask you to save it and submit it, and it will go straight to our ECE department, who will then follow up with you. They'll review your documents, follow up with you, and give you a call about finalizing the enrollment. But everything is online through the Twin Rivers webpage.
Okay, so here in academics, you would go down to early childhood education. And once you click on early childhood education right here, it takes you to this page where we have a video of our program, just letting you know like the activities that they have. And right here, we have a link that takes you directly to the application. So once you click that little black box, it takes you to this. And you have to choose if you're using Adobe Reader or if you're using Google Drive or Doc Hub for cell phones. That is a specific application that is used for cell phones. So, for example, I'm using the computer version. So I go this link and it takes you to this video. And this video actually walks you through how to upload, how to save, how to download the application to your desktop, and how to attach all the documents that are needed. Once you review this video, you can actually go down here to the enrollment application. It's really, really important that you listen to the whole video because there's a lot of steps that you need to take in order for you to, once you have the application open so that you can save it to your desktop, make the changes, adjust it, and then attach it to your email to submit. If you skip that step and you don't save it before you fill it out and update it, it won't let you upload and it will simply send us a blank application to our department. So it is very important that once you get to this screen, that you listen to the whole video for all the instructions that you will need to follow. And there's also step-by-step guides here. If you don't like the video, if you just want to follow the readings, you can also do that. But once you're in the application, it's going to look like this. So it will tell you again all the list of all the documents that you need to do. Once you have the things, you can check it off here so you know what you're missing, what you already have. And then this is the information that we gave you right now. The fact sheet is just to verify what the difference in our programs are. So we just really want you to read over each of these important notes so that you know what program you are trying to apply, so that once you get into the application, you know exactly what you're doing. And this is only if your child is born between specific dates. You go to transitional kinder, so you have to stop here and you have to fill out their application instead. Then here, it's the page that we were showing you guys earlier, that it states the different school sites, the different programs that we offer. And then here, you just have to start inputting away. We have the enrollment card, the emergency. I'm just gonna go through it really fast, okay? Just so you guys get a visual glance at it. So the emergency card, here is where we list all the immunizations that are required to start school, like Tabitha was explaining a while ago. And then we have the TB risk assessment. You just mark yes or no, and then you sign it electronically. This is a 30-day agreement that we are allowing you an extension to submit your physical within 30 days from the day you start. So we know it's with COVID, we have a lot of restrictions. We're not able to get the whole physical form or get the doctor's appointment. So we do allow you an extension. And then this is the language survey. So you have to complete that. Then the partnership profile, just asking what services you want information about. The housing questionnaire, which is from the CWA office. So Heriberto, you were asking earlier how we know or how we can justify if the family is homeless or is considered homelessness. This is one of the forms we base it off. If they're with more than one family due to economic hardship, or if they're living in an emergency shelter, in a motel, or whatever the reason is, you mark it here, and then we refer you to the CWA department so that they can get you in touch with services. Then this is a declaration of residency. This is going to be attached with whatever proof of residency you bring. And then if you're living with somebody else, they sign here, just justifying that, yes, they're living with me, just an extra support. Then the health history form, which we ask just the history of the child, if there's any specific illness, or if the child is potty trained, what stage, what is the usual meals that the child has. Then this is our adult code of conduct, which is our rules that we need parents to follow. And then we move on to parents' rights, child's rights. And then from here, you will see if you're applying for the full day, you complete the following forms. If you're not applying for the full day, you just skip this. And this is a different form for the full day. So you will see the red box up here if it is pertaining to full day or not. And then here, it's another little summary saying what you need to attach in your email. It specifically tells you what to put in the subject line. We will need the last name, first initial, and date of birth so that we know who the application is for. And then here you click to submit and it directs you to your email that you're using on the computer or the cell phone. Whatever you need, it will pop up. So this is just the main application that we have on our website. Once we receive it, it all goes to one specific email for the whole department. That is why it's really important that you make sure you mark the school site that you want and that you label the subject line of your email correctly so we know who to direct this email to. Right here in the first, it's actually page number 4. This is one of the important pieces of your application where you have to specify the preference or the program that you want. You can mark if you want the state part day, the state full day, or the Head Start program. And you put here the school site that you want so that we know who will be contacting you. I'm sorry, I know I moved through it a little bit fast, but I just wanted you guys to get a visual of what it looks like.
Ms. Hedra, I
Yes.
guess you could help me with one. There are still questions about regarding ages for programs. So could you reply again, just go over a little bit more about what ages they would need to be in order to qualify for which programs?
So if you are looking for a specific program, if it's a part day or full day, the child must be 3 or 4 by September 1st of the school year that we're enrolling to. So in other words, if you want to enroll into this school year that we're currently in, by September 1st of 2020, the child had to be either 3 or 4 to enroll into preschool. If you want the Pacific Infant and Toddler program, the child must be between the ages of 0 and 3. And for that program, you can enroll as long as there's spots available. But for that one, we usually have a pretty long wait list only because that's the only program that we have infant toddler from our program.
And then on the other side, for Head Start and early Head Start, students can actually enroll as they turn 3. So there's not that September 1 deadline. So if your child turns 3 in February, then they would be able to start school on their 3rd birthday and stay with us from February through the end of the year. And then continue on the next year for their 2nd year with us.
Yeah, so for this school year, it's 3 or 4 by September 1st of 2020. But if your child is turning 3 or 4 by September 1st of 2021, you can enroll for next school year that starts in August. You can start the enrollment in in April, sorry.
Could I have somebody from the ECE staff just type out those dates and birth dates just for families in the chat for us? And Dr. Thompson, there's a question regarding the dual immersion program when it comes to preschool. I know that, which is offered at Las Palmas, which is different from, in this case, if they were to be enrolling for dual language immersion program for Las Palmas or Madison through their kindergarten, right? Kindergarten enrollment, there's 2 different steps.
Correct. So keep in mind, Cassandra just confirmed that for Madison, you have to be entering kindergarten. So they do not accept preschool students at Madison for the dual immersion program.
Yes. It's only for the K through, I'm not sure if it's 6th grade.
K through 6th, yes.
Now, Ms. Sandra, I know you were talking about the documents that need to be filled out. For families who have issues, let's say have challenges when it comes to technology, they're asking if there's a way they could print the documents and mail it, or how would they go about in contacting the preschool staff for enrollment?
I would suggest if you have, because we do have families that have tech issues or aren't comfortable filling out the information online, give us a call because we'll do that case by case, possibly helping you either scan the documents or trying to take information via phone. So if you have any of those challenges where you're not able to complete the enrollment packet online, give us a call at one of those two numbers and we'll work through how to get your child enrolled.
We do have one of our staff members that will go to the district office by appointment only and get the documents from you, scan them over, and then return them to you. But it really depends on what day it is and what are the documents, because the clerks, we actually have district cell phones that we are allowed to take pictures and text message them. So if you're able to take a picture and send it through your cell phone to one of our clerks, we can also go ahead and do that. We do the whole technical stuff that we convert it, we transfer it to an electronic file and upload it. So you would just have to make sure that the picture is clear and you can text it to us. But we need to know that you have those difficulties and what school you're trying to apply to so that our clerks, the one who's designated to that school, can contact you and have that phone conversation and walk you through it.
Someone asked, Alberto, they want to enroll for August 20. I think this person meant to say August 2021, and they're not sure if they apply for Head Start or preschool. So just for clarification, Head Start is a preschool program. So you are either applying for Head Start or a state preschool program. Again, once you have all your documents, you'll want to determine which school is closest to you. And then once we verify age and income, we'll be able to talk you through which school your child qualifies to go to. Were there other questions? Again, if as you guys are filling out the online enrollment application through the district webpage and the ECE department webpage, if you have questions, especially that are specific for your family or your child, please make sure that you call us and one of our enrollment clerks can guide you guys in the right direction.
And then Miss Sandra, there's also an email they could email us, right? Is that
Yes.
for enrollment?
For our preschool enrollments, which includes the Head Start, we all get it sorted to the same email. Let me just find it. It's enrollprek@twinriversusd.org. I do not see it here, but it is here. This is our email, enrollprek@twinriversusd.org. So any preschool questions, go to that specific email and we all have access to it. We take turns and one of us will open the email, reply to it, or sort it or forward it to the right clerk in charge of that school.
There's questions about as far as when it comes to AM and PM, part day, full day programs. How are those programs, like how do they enroll or how do they sign up for those different programs?
So basically when you see the school that you want, let's say for example, if you want Hagenwood, you would specify in your application Hagenwood. Once we get to your application, we contact you and we say there's a spots available for the AM or for the PM class. Most of the time, the AMs are filled out quicker than the PMs. So we will tell you what your choices are. Sometimes we have both available, so you get to choose. Sometimes the morning is already full or the PM is already full. So we need to know the school site that you want, because keep in mind that some of those sites are only morning and afternoon. Some of those sites are only full days. So we might have to give you different school options if you want only the morning or only the afternoon. And also some schools are from 8 to 11, some are from 8:30 to 11:30. So it really varies by site. So once you get an idea of what school you want, and if you know for sure you only want the morning class and it's full, you do not want the afternoon class, we can always put you on a wait list.
So we're highly suggesting, we are in January and we'll start enrollment for the upcoming school year in April. So really spend some time gathering those documents so that you are not in a situation where you do not get the AM or the PM that you prefer, or you don't end up on a wait list for any of the school locations. So it is imperative that you have everything completed and all those documents. So go ahead and start getting those gathered now in anticipation of us starting at the beginning of April.
There was a couple questions regarding the let's say the physicals or the immunizations. If let's say if they were 3 years old or they're going into 3 years old, is there any let's say date requirements when it comes to when was the last physical, or when was the last documents that were, you know, health forms? Is there any?
Yes, so health, the physical exam, the health exam form, and the dental exam form, we can use if they are within the last year. So if your child has already seen a dentist or a doctor within the last year, then we can use those forms. If it's been over a year, again, please take this time right now before we start enrollment in April to go ahead and get your child's dental exam and their physical exam updated so that you're ready for enrollment in April.
And then one of the other questions that usually comes up is similar to, let's say, for TK going to 12th grade, that enrollment is usually based on your home address. For preschool, is there similar requirements, or how does preschool differs from TK to 12th grade enrollment when it comes to home address?
Typically, TK through 12th grade, you're going to the school that's your home school is what we call it, that's located closest to your residence. We encourage the same thing with preschool, just so it is convenient for parents to get their child to and from school. If for some reason you are wanting a school that's not closest to you, but it's still within our district, you would indicate that on your enrollment application.
And I shared a link for as far as finding your school. So the school district has a website, a resource so you can find what your home school is based on your address. And that is based for Transitional Kindergarten to 12th grade. And that's, that's where you click on to find your address.
The thing is that with preschool, we do not provide transportation, so we can't really limit that you can or cannot go to that school site. You would have to provide the transportation, so it really depends on where you want your child placed. As long as there's spots available, we will take you, but we won't limit you if it's if it's not your home school.
Right.
Some of the other questions, Ms. Sandra and Dr. Thompson, are as far as what are examples of proof of residency, and what are examples, which I imagine would be asked is what are some proof of age, I guess. What are documents that qualify?
Sandra, do you want to go back to the form that shows?
The residency requirement.
So for residency, you're more than welcome to bring in a statement of a bill that shows your address on it. So a PG&E bill, a SMUD bill, a home telephone line, your rental agreement, your mortgage statement, any of those that show your address can prove your residency.
And they have to be within the last 30 days. The most recent one that you can get.
Yes. And then for I think someone also asked about age verification. That is the birth certificate. If you happen to not have a birth certificate, then the hospital certification or a medical insurance card for Head Start will work. Again, if you are applying for the state program, do remember that it's not just the child that's enrolling, but it's also the siblings that will also require birth certificates.
Now, there's a couple questions regarding if, let's say, I guess this is a little bit tricky, but families that live in somebody else's household, then how would they be able to verify their address if, let's say, for example, they live with somebody else and they don't have really any documents that shows their name on it?
There's Cassandra stopped me when I go wrong, but Cassandra just showed there's a third-party affidavit where if you are living with someone else, they are signing off on that, and it is a part of the enrollment packet. So if you're, staying with relatives or friends, that's going to be the form that you fill out to indicate that.
So this top portion is for parent to complete, saying that they're living at this residency. And this is a third-party affidavit where the person who will be letting you borrow their SMUD bill or their PG&E bill or their proof of residency has to complete this section. So it's the third-party affidavit for sharing residence.
Thank you, Ms. Sandra. And then there's another question regarding for families that, let's say, are trying to enroll for Head Start or preschool, but there's a work requirement. How could they go about showing maybe they're in the process of finding a job or they're in the process of let's say through an interview, would those qualify as far as those work requirements? What would you suggest?
So for the state preschool, we have this specific form that is the the authorization to release employment information. So the parent would complete this specifying where they work, who their contact person is, and their phone number. And we, the clerks or the office staff or account clerk, will contact the employer and complete this information. Basically, we need to know the hours that the parent is working, what is the description or the what the parent is working at, like the business, the rate of pay, how often. This is the information that we will need to verify from the employer, but the parents need to authorize us to connect to that specific person. It's either a supervisor, manager, or HR representative that will need to provide that information to us. This is for if a parent is employed by a company or a specific employer. We also have this form where we are certifying if a parent is self-employed, we will need additional documentation to verify what type of employment they do, either work logs or appointment logs or personal checks. However they're getting paid, we need to verify it based on what they are claiming that their income is. We also have this seeking employment form. You mentioned if the parent is looking for a job, we will offer this, but it's on case by case if they're applying for a full day. Keep in mind that we do give priorities to working families. So if there is a spot and we are able to enroll the family into the full day program, we will need to verify that this parent is indeed actively seeking employment. There's also this other form for the full day program. If a family is incapacitated and they either have a physical condition or medical condition that they are not able to take care of the child, we will need this form completed by the doctor who is specifying that this family member cannot take care of the child, and that is why the caretaker is asking for the state preschool to take care of the child while the family member is at home. So we do have different forums for different scenarios. We just need to connect with the family and know what the nature of their work or their need is so that we can provide the appropriate form.
There's a couple questions regarding the income limits. Where could they view that document for income limits? And they're asking whether these programs for Head Start and preschool are there primarily for our working families or so yes.
So the preschool programs are for everyone. Some programs are specific for working families, like Sandra just mentioned, the full day. Others do not require parents to work, so they are for all families. The income document, again, it's very difficult to read, so it is not listed here in this application, right, Sandra?
Yeah, it's not included in this one.
So again, if you have questions about do we qualify, will we have fees, please make sure you call us, because we need more information about how many people are in your family, what's your gross income, and we'll be able to give you accurate information about that.
Now, keep in mind that it is based on priorities. So low income families do get priorities, but they're not the only ones enrolling. We can also allow over income families as long as they are, one of the parents is employed by the district, and we do have a different fee for that, but we only have a limit capacity over our whole preschool population. So that is why we give priorities to fosters, homeless, working parents, families that are attending school full-time or vocational ed. Those also get priorities. But if we do have spots available, we will allow over income families, but it's based on a different guideline.
I'm looking at my time, Dr. Thompson and our preschool staff. Any recommendations, anything that families should be aware of, whether they're looking to enroll for the remainder of this school year or start the process to gather the documents, as you mentioned, Dr. Thompson, for next year?
Two things that I would mention. One is that keep in mind that if your child is age eligible, we do have space in all of our programs right now. So if you are interested in your child joining us this school year, they can join us from now until the beginning of June. It would be awesome. It would be a chance for them to get a head start, if you will, on instead of waiting until next year. And then if your child is not yet age eligible, please make sure you start to gather all of those documents right now, the physicals and dentals and birth certificates and all of those things, so that in April, when we're ready to start enrolling, you are ready to go, and you don't have to be put on a wait list because your application is incomplete. So go ahead and get those documents all gathered and ready. Other than that, if again, if you have any questions that are specific to your child or your family, please make sure you give us a call at one of those two telephone numbers that are listed in the chat, because we can answer, and our enrollment team does a really great job of making sure we get you guys good information and accurate information to get you and your child enrolled. So again, would love to see you this year. But if not, gather your documents and we will definitely see many of you guys in August.
And again, even if you don't want to call, you can always email us and it will get to us. It will get to the ECE department or to the Head Start program. It's for both.
Okay, I think with that, we will conclude this meeting. Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Thank you, Ms. Sandra, Ms. Adriana, Ms. Sarah, Ms. Janet. And then we also want to appreciate our thanks to our interpreters today as well. Our, Ms. Leah, Mr. Barajas, Ms. Alfred, and Ms. Destiny as well. So with that, we will conclude this meeting. And we thank you very much for being here today, and we wish you the best.
Thank you, parents. See you guys soon.
Thank you.